Hi there, MK here. Welcome back. Today we will be discussing the hierarchy of controls. The hierarchy of controls is a framework used by safety professionals to eliminate or reduce exposure to hazards. Remember, we already explained what a hazard is, the potential of anything to cause harm or injury. Now, the hierarchy of controls lists some steps from the most effective down to the least effective, as you can see attached on your screen. The most effective step is the first one, which is elimination. Now, if you're using PPE, which is what is common in most workplaces, as your first line of defense, then you're doing something wrong. PPE refers to personal protective equipment, and you can see there on the framework that it is a list. It comes the very last. Now, the most effective step is elimination. Elimination refers to completely removing the hazard. For example, in a workplace, maybe you're using a wood, an axe to physically chop wood. And then the company decides to bring in machines that are more effective and more safe, totally eliminating the axe, which could chop off your fingers as you're cutting the wood. That is elimination. Now, the second step is substitution, where you bring in something less dangerous as opposed to a more hazardous or dangerous material. For example, if you're using chemicals in your workplace, if there is a chemical that is less hazardous but can still do the work that you want to do, substituting them for something less risky is safer. It is better than using the more risky material. That is a process of substitution. Number three, we have engineering controls. This refers to things put in place so that workers can go or can stay as far away from the hazard as possible. This mostly refers to, like the word says, engineering controls, a design. Maybe in your place of work, where the machines are or where toxic fumes are being made, there is a demarcation, an enclosure that seals away that area so that the fumes that are emanating out of it do not come in contact with you, or less of it comes in contact with the worker. That is an engineering control. There could also be administrative control, which is the fourth level. And in this case, because maybe they could not institute engineering controls, so the admin at work decides to bring in their own controls, such as shifts or dividing workers so that there is less exposure to the risks. If you don't have anything to do in this area, then don't come to work on Thursdays. Thursdays is where we deal with this risky part of the material. Maybe we're a place that makes lithium ion batteries. There could be some dangerous chemicals and steps in this process. And so if you don't have you're not an engineer working directly with this, don't come to work on Thursdays because it's on Thursdays we're working with this. That is a form of administrative controls. Or even implementing mandatory safety trainings for those that are working in this company. That is a form of administrative control. And finally, we have the PPE, the personal protective equipment, where employees wear, such as an helmet, respirators, safety boots, safety glasses, anything to protect yourself from coming directly in contact with the hazard. That is PPE. And this pretty much sums up the hierarchy of controls. Do you have more questions? Follow me and subscribe to stay on top of things and ask all of the questions you have. Refer these videos, share them with your friends, and thank you for being here.